Hey, good morning, guys. Yes, I just woke up. So, anyways, I'm kind of excited about some of the stuff I did. I'm going to show you real quick. So I've experimented a little bit more with that tessellation, and I added a uniform in the tessellation control shader just to experiment with it. So I had it affect the tessellation factors, right? And didn't make any other changes other than adding another uniform in the fragment shader for the color mix. And you can see it's set on the red variable or the red component in that color. So we go through none of this changes from that other um, example on tessellation, except for these. And there's a little refresher on uniforms is that you have to get the location. So after you have done your shader linking, okay, then you can reference that shader program and find the location of the uniform variable that you're looking for based on the name that you gave it in the shader. And so I do that with both of these, and then I use the GLFW timers, so I reset it right here. I also use two variables, or three. I use more than that, and you'll see in a second. I think that giggles, color U, and gdir. Okay. So basically I calculated, I think, 30 frames a second is what I wanted the change to take place, so I divided 1 by 30 and I got that number. So if GLFW get time goes greater than that number, so the first frame has occurred, 30 frames a second. Okay, then it resets the time. Giggles, because I wanted it to go back and forth, will be affected based on the direction variable. And then if it goes out of bounds, it just changes the sign of the direction and then continues to add and all that. So then it goes and it updates the uniform right here. So you want to update the value in the uniform with giggles, put it in the U location, and then color U equals giggles divided by 64. That's just to make the color. Okay. And then at the end here, we actually draw the tessellation. We draw in patches, right? GL patches. And let me just show you real quick. This is the first one. See, and it just kind of goes back and forth. And just to give you an idea of how I had to do that, is the tessellation, the T factor, right? U location. Where's it at? Where's it at? Giggles. No, wait. Is that the one? Wait, where's the T factor? Because actually, I'm not seeing it in my code, but maybe some of you guys will figure it out. Oh yeah, no, gdir right here, 2. So every time through the code, it goes up 2 instead of just 1, because if you go up just 1, the tessellation factor apparently changes the center of the, just with the way that I'm doing this funky thing here anyways. So, all right, well that's not all I want to show you, so stay tuned here in just a second. I'm going to copy this code over to the, let's see, open that one. Excuse me, all of a sudden we're in a new program. So this one's relatively simple. I added um, my little OpenGL engine here because I wanted to make it easier on myself. So I drew a line, okay, and then a point that moves, and then I gave the point an x and a y. It's basically the dx. I should have just called it dx and dy. And then over time, there's a direction variable. It's a boolean, so I just added that in, and it starts out at false. And so each time through the loop, it takes the location and it adds the dx and dy. Excuse me. So if the x, and I'm just tracking the x variable because it's the same as the y variable there, since the numbers are identical on the dx and the dy, so I could check the y just as easily. But so if the x goes below that number, it sets it to true, changes the direction. and then it changes the excuse me, just does little adjustments so that it doesn't trigger that again. If it's false, it does this. If it's true, then the next time when it comes through, it'll be heading the other way because it's actually subtracting the px and py, and until it gets to greater than that, then it goes false. Okay, and it's not really a big flashy display, and in fact, I've got the other stuff being drawn with it. You'll see here I got the dots in the background, but as you can see, there's a blue dot, and it's following the line of the red line in the center of the screen, and it just goes back and forth. Which is really cool, and it's kind of just the beginning of something that I wanted to do, and stay tuned for that because that's going to be pretty awesome, as well as the animated tessellation and actually all this stuff. It's coming together, and not sure what it's going to be yet, but it's going to be pretty interesting. So thanks for watching. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while, but kind of been busy with this OpenGL Super Bible that I've been reading and kind of putting things together. And I do have other stuff to show you to make videos on, but I'm not going to do that right now. But stay tuned because I'm actually working on cleaning up my code, getting some standardization with as far as making my code more professional, getting into classes, and making sure that that all works for me. And so that's going to be some of the upcoming videos, and those will be coming shortly. And we're going to actually I know I've been wanting to make something playable since about October, but you know, things happen. Anyways, I'm still very, very excited and working towards learning more features and all kinds of stuff like that. So I really want to focus on um, learning something different every day. So, but thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for lots more because it's a winter coming up and we're just going to possibly disconnect my internet and sit here and work on programming all winter. Thanks again. See you next time.